Quick. Alrighty. Let's see. I think we are live. Let me check real quick. Yes, sir. Alrighty. So, alright, cool. Alright, man. So, everybody, thank you for tuning in. Today, I got myself another amazing builder within crypto, previously at Improbable and M Squared, now creating the foundation for mass consumers in Web3. Welcome, the founder of Somnia Network, Paul Thomas. What's up, my man? How you doing today?
I'm great. Good to be here. Yeah, this should be fun. Looking forward to it.
Oh yeah, dude, definitely, man. You guys have been creating a lot of buzz out there, man. A lot of people out there just talking about you guys left and right, man. So it's gonna be a good one, man. I think a lot of people are gonna be really interested in now and then the long term as things unfold and things kind of carry out. But first things first, brother, we got to learn a little bit about yourself, but more so of your crypto journey. How did you first discover crypto, and what about crypto made you want to stay here for the long run?
Oh, big question. So I never got Bitcoin, unfortunately. I know I owned a lot of Bitcoin, but it took me a while to kind of get it. I remember I bought it back in the day to buy some things online.
Some fun
But I
stuff,
never,
man.
yeah,
Nah.
some fun stuff online. Won't talk about any more of that. But I never really. It kind of for me just felt like a more inconvenient way to pay for stuff. Like it didn't
Yeah.
feel. I didn't get it because I live in the West. Obviously, it's really easy to pay for stuff with credit card and stuff. So I never really got Bitcoin. But when Ethereum came about in 16, 17, that's when I was like, holy moly, this is amazing. I just saw this vision of this kind of world computer, this kind of platform which anyone can put code on top of, and this kind of global ledger where people can trade and exchange value. And I was like, this is amazing. You could do so many different things with this. Yeah, I thought it would revolutionize finance. And then I was like, it's going to revolutionize gaming. It's going to revolutionize every single asset in the world. And I was like, this is cool. Um, so in 16, 17, I pitched really hard in Improbable. I was like, we need to put everything on chain. So we were working with a bunch of games from like the AAA games industry all the way down to like small independents. And I was like, all of our games need to be on top of Ethereum. This is going to be the future of digital assets. This is going to be how everyone buys and sells stuff in the future. They all thought I was mad. They were like, what the hell are you talking about? I kept pitching and pitching and pitching, explaining it. And eventually they give me
What was the back like the pushback on that? Like
it,
no, yeah.
it just so the major thing I think there was loads of it, but I think the biggest thing was it gave up control, which
Mm,
game
mm,
developers are all about control and like locking people in. And they were just like, game devs are never going to pick this up because they
yeah.
don't want to lose control over their assets. And then I explained to them, no, but they can monetize them in so many different ways. They can take revenue and cuts after they've been traded in secondary markets. The value of them can be much bigger because they can be interoperable. They could also be utilized across many different application spaces. So I kind of pitched this vision of like it will actually grow the pie for the games industry and then make it a better industry as a whole. But they were just like, no one's ever going to use it, blah 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 blah. Because
Damn.
game devs, most of them, they like control. They like to have their little world which they
Yeah.
control, and this kind of relinquishes control. But so I kept pitching, kept going for it, and eventually they gave me like a small research team to do a proof of concept.
Nice.
That failed pretty bad.
Oh
Um,
damn.
it was the thing is Ethereum was just so early back then. 16, 17, it
Yeah.
was barely working at that point.
Yeah.
If anyone tried to dev on it at that time, it was a hard place to develop on. And so it just didn't scale. Basically, it didn't work. It was a nice idea, but way too early.
Mm,
So we wait a little bit. We get to 2019, 2020. Improbable have now started doing what's not called the metaverse yet, but now it's called the metaverse. So we basically did these like large activations with big brands like Major League Baseball,
mm.
Universal Music, where we did these K-pop things, and they all monetized with digital assets. So people would go to them and buy like clothing, buy access to go to the events. That was basically how they were monetized. And the vision piece there was really we wanted them all to be interoperable. So you as a consumer could go to like a baseball match, buy a baseball jersey, then go to a music concert and use that same jersey. And so you need interoperability to do that. And for that, you need kind of like an open, trustless database, which a blockchain is a very good solution for, basically. So I was
Damn.
like, all right, let's go again. Blockchain. This is the thing.
Yeah.
Um,
Go ahead, sorry.
so again, the problem. So this time round, the tech has got a lot better and it's a lot
Yeah.
more mature, but scale was still an issue.
Mm.
So when you these events, they would bring in tens of thousands, sometimes hundreds of
Yeah.
thousands of consumers. And if they all want to go and buy a t-shirt at the same time, which they often do, 12 TPS just not going to do it. Basically, everyone will be
Damn.
buying stuff and then waiting and being like 2 minutes later, 3 minutes later, oh, my t-shirt's
Wow.
come. We
So
tried to make
it's like one of those big ass lines at the stadiums. You're just like, yeah,
exactly,
yeah,
but it's
yeah.
worse because you go to it and you click buy and you think you've bought it, but you haven't really bought it yet because it's still on
Ah,
the blockchain.
you're still waiting on the line.
It's just such a bad experience for it anyway.
Damn.
Um, so there were ways to fix it with like putting stuff in the Web 2 world, but then we had issues where people would buy something and then it would like disappear, or they wouldn't
Oh
actually
damn.
fully own it and move to another. Yeah, it was a mess. Um, so we were like, okay,
Yeah.
we need a faster blockchain to kind of solve this problem. Um, and we looked at everything that
Okay.
was in the market at that point in time, couldn't really find anything that was fast enough, particularly in the EVM ecosystem. So I've built tech in the past where I've tried to get developers to adopt new programming languages. And I spent millions of dollars. I failed completely. And I was like, I'm not doing that again. I'm going where all the devs are. I'm making sure we're building something that people can actually use and want to use. So EVM was also a must. And in the EVM space, there was nothing that was anywhere near fast enough. So that's when we started doing first party research into high performance blockchain, and that's what Somnia became now. So that's why
Damn,
we
that's
kind of
great.
began
That's
the
what
journey.
that's what I was gonna ask you too, man. Like the day zero of Somnia. So like when you guys were these at those times, those were your guys' like aha moments. Like, this is not working out. We have to build something better. And then Somnia was born, correct?
Yeah, that's exactly it. I mean, ultimately, we had a massive problem of
Yeah.
how do you get hundreds of thousands of people, and also we wanted to get to millions and tens of millions, right? That's
Yeah.
where the platform's going. How do you get them to all transact and interact on chain at the same time? And so that's kind of we had a problem to solve, and that's why we built Somnia in the first place. What was quite interesting is when we built it, it actually went much further than what we kind of were planning for. We were trying to get to like a 10,000 or so TPS chain because that's the sort of way you need to get to solve the problems that we're talking about, and we went like way beyond that. And so
I thought I read somewhere it was 1 million, right?
yeah, so millions of users
Wow,
on the
dude,
benchmarks.
Jesus.
Yeah, but that's kind of if you think about it, right? If you want everyone in the world to interact on chain, and then imagine a world of AI where we will have like a couple of AI agents that are also kind of doing stuff for us on chain,
Mm-hmm.
you need a lot of throughput. That's like
Yeah.
20 billion accounts probably.
Yeah.
That's a hell of a lot of throughput you need to support that, unless you fragment the experience. But one of the massive things for me about blockchain and why I think it's so cool is composability. So the thing that someone can build a protocol and a piece of logic, then someone else can take that and use that in their application. Then someone can take that and build with their application. That I think is such a cool concept that you saw in DeFi back in DeFi summer. And if you don't have everything on one kind of consistent blockchain, you can't do that very
Yeah.
effectively. And that's what I think part of the magic is. So we're now trying to do that in the gaming sector, where we're trying to enable developers to put more logic and data on chain, which then will make them reuse that over and over again. You get what I call composable games. And so that's going to be like a big thing for
Wow.
us, and that's kind of where we're moving to now.
Oh yeah, and I see it, man. And I'm so excited. As time goes on, that Web3 gaming, it's just gonna make more sense. But before that, we get into that, man. The name Samya, it invokes dreams in the Greek mythology, man. Does this kind of like represent what you're building within this space, man? It's kind of like a dream where everybody kind of comes in here, manifest their games, manifest their utilities as in like skins, loot boxes, guns, tickets, etc., etc. Is this kind of like your dream kind of thing where everything kind of unfolds onto Somnia and the
Yeah,
name? Yeah, okay,
yeah,
that's what I
exactly.
thought. Yeah.
Exactly. It's all about, so it comes from ancient Roman, I think. The gods
Mm.
of sleep were called the Somnia. And it's all about basically making dreams reality. That's kind of what we're
Yeah.
trying to do. All the experiences are like entertainment style experiences, which are like come from people's imagination and then
Yeah.
get put on chain. And
It.
that's kind of the
It.
vibe we're going for. You'll see a lot of the marketing kind of talks about the dream computer, enabling
Yeah.
dreams, making dreams reality. And I think it's a cool concept and
It
why we
is.
kind of kept with the name, even though we had a lot of interesting conversations about naming it.
Yeah. No, yeah, I think it's awesome, man. I think that these tools that you guys are building only makes it for people that really want to create games, and as crazy as it sounds too, like people like myself that just have this so much creativity and all these things boggled up in my mind. I just don't know how to express it or create it without tools or any of those things. I'm glad that you guys are building those things, man. I know that the gaming is a cornerstone of Somnia's ecosystem with partnerships like Yuga Labs and like Dark Table CCG. But what are your guys' strategy for attracting both AAA game studios or AAA game studios and indie devs to build on Somnia? And how do you
Yeah,
help them build out their vision?
yeah. So this is a very big question.
Mm-hmm.
We'll start with my hot take. So
Yes, let's
we are
go.
purposely not going after AAA,
Mm.
which is very different. A lot of people like in the space like we've got to get AAA to come on chain, and I've sold technology to the AAA games industry for the last 13 years. I've sold them very experimental tech as well. Like we sold MMO tech, multiplayer tech that allowed you to get thousands of people in the same space, like stuff that's really far out there in terms of enables new games that you can't really build very well today. And what I found is the AAA games industry is very risk averse. They
Mm.
don't want to innovate in terms of creating new business
Wow.
models, in creating new genres. That's not their vibe. They want to build Call of Duty 17 or GTA 6, and that basically guarantees that they'll make money from that game. They don't want to take a risk and kind of just flip the tables and change everything. That's too risky for them. If they tried to do that and went to their board, they would get laughed out of the. They just get told no, basically, because they're big public traded companies.
Do you
Um,
think? Do. I'm a huge gamer. We'll talk about games here in a second, dude. But do you think that's why in the past, I'd say 5 to 6 years, man, games have kind of just been lagging in a way? Because you're right, man, dude. Like this is like what Call of Duty 58 that we're going on. Like Jesus Christ, man, and like I can tell you so many other more. It's just like it nowadays is getting more popularized. But like, dude, 3 4 years ago, man, it was a straight like I don't know, man. I don't even know what to say. Not a nothing burger, but it was just stale. There you go. It was like
yeah,
very stale. It was the same thing over and over again. And now that you've mentioned that, like you pitched all these technologies to these people or to these gaming studios and stuff, and they're kind of not really trying to risk it. It makes a lot of sense. But go ahead. I just wanted to throw that. I was like, damn, dude, that make it
I,
kind of clicked in my brain, you know?
yeah. I mean, I thought I was just getting old because
Yeah.
I have the same thing. But if you actually look at the revenues in the games industry, it started to flatline for the first time ever over the last
Damn.
3 years. It's like started to flatline,
I never thought I'd
and I
hear
think it's
that.
because of this because
Yeah.
the big studios just keep doing the same thing, and also I think attention has got really drained by things like TikTok, by things like
Yeah.
social media. So there's a massive attention kind of problem as well, um, which is why though this is one of the reasons I'm so bullish on Web3.
Mm-hmm.
Like the biggest problem in the games industry at the moment is the cost of acquiring a user for a game.
Mm.
It costs now too much money on a per user basis than what you can actually make from them on a per user basis. So the economics
Oh,
just don't
okay.
work anymore for new games. But Web3 gives you a new mechanism which you can acquire users for fractions of the cost that it would cost with traditional UA like advertising and influencers and stuff like that, because you can give them assets, because you can do distributions and giveaways and things like that. And so I think Web3 gives people an angle where they can actually build a game that's economically viable as an independent studio, which today isn't really viable, basically. Um, so yeah, you're completely right. The stagnation, I think, is because of this risk aversion. There needs to be an innovation industry. This innovation comes from three things. One is new platforms, so new console generations. Switch 2 is coming out.
Mm-hmm.
Next generation consoles are coming out, but I don't know whether that's going to cause the same sparks as it normally does. New genres, so game types and game modes that have never been seen before. Um, if you think about Web 2, this happened with MOBAs, where you had Warcraft 3 that turned into a MOBA, that turned into League of Legends, huge game type. Battle Royale, that was a
Yeah.
modification of Arma 2, which then turned into DayZ, which then turned into Fortnite. So again, these are huge games basically that come from new genres, but they always come from independent teams that are
Yeah.
trying new things and
Mm-hmm.
pushing the envelope and trying things in new ways. So this is one reason that I'm massively into the indies. The other are business models. So when the industry went from kind of box copy to expansion packs, that was a big change. When the industry went from expansion packs to DLC, that was a big change. And then free to play was an absolutely huge change where all of a sudden loads more people came online. Um, and so I think you'll see the same thing in Web3. Web3 has a way to innovate in terms of the business model. I don't know what it is. It's something like play and earn, where Axie was kind of like getting to it a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
But I think there is something there that's like a whole new business model, which will bring on a ton of new players. And I think an independent team is the one that's going to take the risks try out the new stuff and find those business models and find those new genres. So that's why we're going very heavy on the independent teams rather than the big AAA guys, because they're just not going to do it. You can get them, but I've talked to people like, if we wanted to we wouldn't do this, but if you spend like 10-20 million dollars, they'll give you a pretty decent IP from their stable, and kind of you can do a deal with one of the AAAs to get a game with them. But they won't really do something that's really pushing the envelope.
Yeah.
Actually going to bring in a whole new.
They want you to be within their square and stuff
Yeah,
like that.
exactly.
Yeah. Damn. Okay.
Exactly.
It all makes sense, man. It's just like when you're explaining to me how, because you're deep in there, man. You're actually talking with the big guys up there, and it's crazy. It makes me even more bullish on Web3, just like you explained yourself. The way I envision Web3 gaming, man, is just like obviously more interoperability. I'm sorry, I can't really say that. And then what's yeah, no, and then ownership, within these games, and it's crazy to me because, like, with royalties, a lot of these gaming companies would still make a lot of money and things like that, but it would still no. For example, like I think it's CS:GO and stuff. They have their own little market, their own little black market. You know what I mean? They sell accounts and they do these things. These things are going to happen anyway. You know what I mean? There's I saw a damn Craigslist ads filled with like Fortnite profiles. You know what I mean? Just trading because they had the OG skins and things like that. Man, they think that, like, as time goes on and these teams and these tools become more available, like you guys are doing, it's just going to become more. It just makes more sense as time goes on. But that negative connotation that Web3 gaming has within Web2 gaming and Web2 players and stuff, we still got a little bit of reach, but I'm glad that you guys are going towards the indies because it's more open. You know what I mean? For example, like big players within Call of Duty, Fortnite, and things along those lines, they will also stay within those lines, within those boxes. You know what I mean? Like they won't get out of there due to contracts or creativity, yada 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 yada. But yeah, man, I think that the humans are just trying to break free from that gaming kind of world and make their own. Because we evolve. We either adapt. We just adapt to the way things are. When like a gaming thing makes its own box, has its own monopoly, things branch off, and that's what crypto and Somnia and things like you guys are doing really opens the world up again to new creativity, in my opinion. And that's where I see Web3 gaming. Speaking of games, man, a little side question. I know that the gaming's heavy focused, so I gotta assume you love gaming yourself, brother. So what are your favorite games of all time? I know, like, there's a bunch, but ones that come to the top of your head, and what are you playing right now?
Oh, so of all time, my favorite game is Ocarina of Time, Zelda Ocarina
Nice.
of Time on the N64. I think it was just the right moment in my life. I just always remember the bit where you go back in time for the first time. So you get the first 3 gems, and you feel like you've completed the game. And then you go to the Temple of Time, you put it down, you go back in time, and you're like, holy moly,
Yeah.
there's a whole other game here. And this was before like the internet was that big, so you couldn't just Google stuff and like find the answers to everything. And there was YouTube and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So it was all like brand new and like really exciting. But I played a lot of games like World of Warcraft. I played massively, tens of thousands of hours on that. Played a
Nice.
guild. That was one of the most interesting moments of my life, meeting my guild mates for the first time in real life.
Oh,
Known
that's
these guys
so
digitally
awesome.
for like years, and then I met them at BlizzCon, and I was just like, "Oh, you're real people."
Dude, it's always awesome going through things like that, meeting up with your friends, man. I've had similar experiences. It's just like I don't know what it is, man. It's just kind of like this thing that we're doing here within like crypto and NFTs and stuff like that, man. It's just like you meet each other digitally, man, and you're just like you're just alike. You're the same, you fuck with each other heavy, and finally meeting up, man. It's magical moments, man. But yeah, go ahead, keep going.
Yeah. So then the other one, big RuneScape player. I think a lot of people in Web3
Oh yeah,
I've met, I've talked to, a lot of people seem to love RuneScape.
I
I
love
think it's
RuneScape,
because
man.
it's
I
got a
loved
really
it.
strong economy part, which
Yeah,
vibes a lot with.
I got.
Web3
That's the
gaming.
first time I got scammed.
Yeah, I may have
Yeah.
scammed you. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I
Damn,
had like a
bro.
little, I had like a business that was a
Damn.
bit older than
Yeah.
Coinbase when it kind of came out, and I had like this mini business where I had like 10 people like doing stuff for me,
Ah,
gold,
dude,
like
you
get
probably
and I'd buy it
did.
for really cheap. I'd be like,
Damn.
you don't know if you know what that's worth.
Oh man, got one time, man. I was playing. I was a kid, man, and this guy promised me badass armors, dude, hella gold. You know what I mean? The fucking sword. I wasn't even leveled up enough to even hold that shit or wield it. You know, so I didn't even know what I was thinking. He told me, trade me all your loot and all the money, and just leave it behind this bush thing, and I will leave all my stuff there. I did it, and guess who did it? They pick. I saw him pick up all my shit and then just fucking log out. I was like, "What the fuck just happened?" But yeah, no, man, it's
It's the
awesome.
same as Web3, where it's like
Yeah,
just give me your private key and I'll give you all
yeah.
the stuff. It's like, okay,
Oh man, dude, it's awesome, man. But oh man, let's talk about what's going on today. Since the Shannon testnet has been live since February, and with an impressive, like we just talked about, 1 million TPS, can you share some key insights from the testnet so far? What's working well, and what surprises you from the testnet so far, from both devs and users?
yeah. So there's tons of things here. I think
Mm-hmm.
what's working well. The chain has been very solid.
Yeah.
I think we haven't had any major downtime. This is because when we did our DevNet, it was basically public. So really, we've been very public with the tech very early on. This is just the way we build stuff. We build in public, so we can find the bugs and work out what's wrong. So the chain has been very solid from a kind of that perspective. What we found, because of the performance of the chain is super high performance, is
Mm-hmm.
that the infrastructure around the chain just isn't fast enough really for the speed of the blockchain. So like
Mm.
an example is like the wallets. So like you go to the DEX and you do a swap. The swap's like instant, but the
Yeah.
wallet confirm screen takes like 10, 15 seconds. That's
Yeah.
the slowest part of the whole process. So we've been finding a lot of issues. And then other things like the block explorer. So when it goes up to like 100,000 plus TPS, the block explorer can't keep up. You go
Mm.
there to try and look at your transactions, like where's the transactions? And so it's all like the infrastructure around the blockchain that we've been having struggles with, that we've had to work with third-party teams to upgrade or make first-party versions ourselves. And that's been one of the biggest challenges from a technology perspective. From a dev perspective, I think what I just it's so cool, like having an open blockchain and just seeing all these devs come in and build random stuff. Like I never really expected it, even though we've obviously like had a dev community. We're talking about it. EVM compatible as well helps a lot there because people who have built on EVM before just come on. But loads of devs have built like these really cool mini games, which they started off quite friendly and have slowly over time become more degenerate. And they're basically just like test tokens now, where people click down the test tokens and they're just like trying to farm the test token, but end up losing all their money. And I'm just sitting there like, yeah, this is Web3. I think I've done a couple of posts, which turns out blockchain is just very good ways to gamble.
Yeah.
I'd like to be altruistic and think it's not, but that is the case,
Nah.
unfortunately.
Yo, yeah, it's
Um,
just go ahead, keep going. Sorry.
yeah, no, no, you can go.
I was just gonna say it's just like we're testing things. We just discovered fire, in my opinion. Like we're like we're testing the fires. We're like, oh shit, like this thing's on fire. Let's see what we can do. But like it's funny when it always starts out like that, man. And but as time goes by, these things get a little bit more serious. But yeah, man, it's just funny how when testnets first come out, man, it's just like discovering fire and see what you can do, see what you can break and things along those lines, man. How did you guys? Because you said you were surprised. Do you have any idea how that community was formed slash built from you guys? Because that just doesn't come from nowhere. You know what I mean? Like these people, and dude, I'll have people in my comments. I'll be talking about something random. You know what I mean? I'll have many people in my comments be like, "Oh, have you checked out Somnia, or did you do this, or did you do that?" I was like, "What the hell?" Like these guys have built up like solid community out here, dude. And these are people that I engage with every single day. You know what I mean? That are kind of just hooked by Somnia now, man. So like, how did you guys really do that? How did you guys build that kind of like engagement slash like community? Dude, you got some diehard people out there for you guys, man.
Yeah, I think it's because we built in public very
Mm.
early on. I think a lot of teams they kind of create a lot of hype and then they kind of like don't have any product out there for a long
Yeah.
time. We literally had, even when we first started the project back last year, we didn't have the blockchain yet, but we had this thing called like the playground, this thing called the metaverse browser. And we were always doing these kind of engagements with the community to
Yeah.
kind of work together and do and play together in some form or fashion. We've also been very consistent from day one at having like regular community meetups, making sure people are aware
Mm.
of what's going on. And this is because my experience in the past, so this is probably like my third big technology product. And I failed before because I didn't really focus on distribution and then retention, which is community and Web3. And so with this project, I was very, very conscious from the start that we need to build a grassroots community because that's what's going to make the project successful in the long term. And ultimately, so we've just continually invested in that. We're also very open with them. Like I literally ask people all the time their opinion on stuff. So we build with the community, which I think helps build up that credibility and that
Yeah.
diehardness. And then of course there are we also give them a lot of stuff to do. Like we have this quest platform where it's like gives them guidance in terms of things we want them to do. I think that's helped as well build up more grassroots community because they understand the activities that we want them to do and kind of work together on. So yeah, for me, it's just about being open, honest, and talking to people. And I always tell this to people, you build a community one person at a time,
Yeah.
and you just have to be friendly to people one person at a time, and eventually then it starts snowballing into like loads of people, and then those people start going out and talking to people and just kind of lights itself. So I think
Yeah.
essentially we've just been very conscious about building community from day one,
That's
rather than a lot of projects kind of forget about it or don't even think about it, which in Web3 that's so weird for me because it's such a core part of your product.
Yeah, no, you're right, man. You got me thinking, man, because like there is a huge difference between something that's hyped and that's something that's community built. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, man, I really got to think about something like that because like in the long term, the hype is great in the short term for sure. But like if just like you said, if most of the times when I participate in these test nets and things along, I'll only have like a thing or two to do. You know what I mean? And then like that's it. I'll move on. And honestly, like, dude, I'll just forget about it. You know what I mean? Like I just there's a couple I won't name them, but like there's a couple where I've gone in hyped as hell. You know, dude, I like the TL's fucking raving about it. They're going crazy about it. I'm like whoa 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 whoa. You know, like I want to get in there. I get in there, and it's just like a meme coin platform, and then I don't know buying NFTs. I do both of those things, right? But like after the transaction, what? You know, there is no community to hang out with. There is no people to be like, hey, I bought this NFT or I bought this meme coin or I did. There's nothing to do there. You know what I mean? So I'll head out, and then there's been a couple of times where I just kind of just been so bored that I just forget about it. You know, I fucking move on. You know, it's just. But yeah, I'm just glad that you guys are holding that retention in, especially as dude, as this space keeps going, man, the new shiny object always
Oh,
outpaces
it's
the other one, dude. Always, man. It's crazy. How do you feel about things like that? Like as a builder yourself, man, seeing so many, let's say, not so moving the needle forward, getting so much hype, getting so much views and things along those lines. And I'm not saying you guys aren't. You guys for sure are. You know, for sure. But seeing like the let's say the nasty crime stuff getting way more popularized, way more up there during the last I'd say year or two. Has that been kind of demotivating for you? How does that make you feel as a like a real contributor to the space?
uh, I've got two takes on this. So one is I obviously don't like it. I
Mm-hmm.
think there is so much promise in what this space can do and be. And when I see this stuff, it sets us back because people outside of the industry look in and are thinking, oh, I want to come do something in Web3. And they look at that stuff and like, oh, no, it's just crime and scams. I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
I have this with my friends. Literally, I go to the pub. They're a bunch of them are game devs, and they're like, "Why are you Web3? Isn't it just a bunch of scams?" And I'm like, "No,
Damn.
there's actually like legitimate people trying to build
Yeah.
legitimate businesses, and you can do really cool stuff." And so it does make me a bit sad because I sit there and be like, "This is tarnishing the reputation of the industry," but it also it's just part of the industry, and
Mm.
you have to kind of accept it. You can't fight against it continually, otherwise you'll just have a very sad and bad time. And you have to just be aware that these are things that go through hype cycles.
Yeah.
And if you're building long-term value that actually gets product market fit and people use, the hype cycles will go up and down, but you'll just keep going up and down
Yeah.
like this, and it
Mm-hmm.
won't matter in the end. So what I tell the team this all the time, I'm like, just ignore the noise and focus on what is valuable. But also you have to be aware, right? If there's a hype
Mm-hmm.
cycle going on in some sector that you can catch on to, you shouldn't just ignore that. That's just silly at the end of the day. But the crime and the scam stuff, it does make me sad.
Yeah.
Just because there's so much potential in the industry, and it just gives it a bad name when you talk to other people outside the industry. But it's also kind of part of it, right? We built this whole ethos about like permissionless systems when it can
Yeah.
do anything. You can't really say, "Oh no, you're not allowed to do that." Yeah, at the end of the day.
Yeah, it's kind of I always find those things funny. Like I find it a little bit hypocritical. Not gonna lie, sometimes I do the same thing too. I'm human, you know, so like I'll have those moments. But I'm just like, dude, if it's allowed, for sure, someone's gonna do it. Does it make it right? For sure, not. But like, yeah, I just like to focus on people that moving that are pushing crypto forward, building new tools like what you guys are doing, and it's yeah, sometimes a little demotivating because I bet you've run into some times where you're just like, should I even be telling these fucking people like that I'm in crypto, that I work in crypto, because I know exactly what they're going to say. I'd rather just avoid it and stuff like that. But yeah, man. So hey, back to it, man. I saw recently in one of your posts that you've leaked some AI tools you guys been working on, like building like within mini games and on chain stuff. What do you envision Samia and AI put together? What do you think about when you hear that sentence?
Yeah, so there's a lot of things there. So I think we are primarily focused on what I call entertainment adjacent AI. So a lot of teams aren't. I don't think many teams are doing this, but basically, it's all around AI tools that can
Mm,
help more people become builders and build on chain easier. That's what
yes.
we're trying to do at the end of the day, because I think there is so much creativity
Yeah.
across the world, so many people with ideas that don't have the capability to actually turn them into reality. I think AI, as it gets better every month, will become that bridge where now will become a economy of ideas. Whoever has the best idea will be able to win, rather than necessarily I'm better technically or I'm better from a marketing perspective. Um, so that AI tool is kind of like our first start of doing that, where essentially that tool you can put in a prompt and it will generate you out a mini game. That game then can be deployed and published on chain, and then you can monetize it with either wager style mechanics, gambling style mechanics, or access control mechanics. Um, so this is basically going to enable everyone to be a mini game builder. Like you'll literally be able to go up and prompt it. It will generate you out your game. You can then publish it and start making money from it. And that I think is really cool because it's going to access loads of people now can become game developers. But we're going further as well. So we're working with people who are building like deep in networks that allow
Oh,
you to
no.
farm out jobs to generate 3D assets. So you can basically like generate me out a 3D Lamborghini or
Wow.
generate me out a 3D model of this, come back with that, then you can start using that in experiences, or you can sell it and monetize it basically. So that's going to be another part where we're enabling now people to become 3D creators, which I think is going to open up a whole new load of people building cool stuff. We're also building a platform to help people kind of give them the tools to build and create stuff in those 3D environments. So that's kind of the AI part that we're most focused on, which is really using generative AI to make more people content creators in different forms and fashion. The other one that's quite interesting is people using AIs within their games. So we have a team that's working. There's a bunch of different ways this is happening, but one team that I think is really cool. They're building like an LLM model which talks on
Mm.
Twitter,
Oh,
and you
damn.
kind of talk with the bots on Twitter, and you're playing like a game of like Werewolf or Among Us, where you have to find out who's the murderer, and then there's a payout mechanism with on-chain mechanics. And so that I think is a really cool way of using AI mixing it with gaming, where you have agents kind of doing the interaction. You're interacting with the agents. Um, so that's going to be another place that's very important. Then the other one is obviously Def AI, which a lot of other people doing, where you have basically agents doing kind of activities on chain for you. So you kind of give them prompts, they go off and do activities on chain, trade for you, go into lending protocols. We're trying to get them to interact with the games in the ecosystem as well, particularly the fully on-chain games, because they have a way to do that where they can
Mm.
kind of see the on-chain data, on-chain logic, and interact with it
Wow.
directly. We're also making this is a very new product.
Oh, damn. Oh, damn. He left. Oh, I think we got some technical difficulties.
Back.
There we go. Hey, what's up, my man? No, you're good, brother. You said you were about to. You said you cut out at like. You guys made something or you guys created something with the AI stuff. Let's go ahead.
Yeah, yeah. So the thing we're working on at the moment, which is quite new. So the problem today is AIs can't read blockchain data very easily.
Mm.
So they can't understand the protocols and the data on chain very quickly and very easily. So we're making a kind of layer called an MCP layer, which basically allows agents to understand the blockchain and then
Oh,
interact on
nice.
chain easier, which I think will unlock a whole new load of use cases that will be very, very cool and very, very interesting. So that's another place that we're currently investing into. because I think my vision of the future is like we will have a couple of agents that do stuff
Mm.
for us, and the primary way they will do commerce with each other, their transact is on chain because it's a permissionless transaction system that an AI can actually talk to. So I think that's going to be a very important use case which we're pushing to as well. So yeah, so content creation, AIs in games, and then this idea of AI agents and interacting on chain.
Yeah, dude.
Those are the three places we're looking at with AI.
Yeah, dude, I'm gonna be living on Samia, dude. This place is perfect for me, dude. I'm a gamer. I want to create things, but I just do not have the technicalities to do so. You know what I mean? I don't. I especially with the 3D stuff, man. Like I tried, dude. It's crazy to me how I don't think most people understand how hard it is to be creative. You know what I mean? Like, dude, when I started doing edits and things along those lines and creating other things, I was like, it took me back. I was like, holy shit, dude, this is a lot. You know, I was like, this is a lot. So like having, so I'm thankful for you guys and the team, dude, because like. I have so many, like you explained, dude. I have so many creative ideas inside my head that I wish I could just know how to build it, but I just don't know how. If I have an AI tool that just builds it for me, and I can just spout in my ideas, I think it's just you. I think it's what you said, man. It's gonna be not necessarily who's the best technicality, but who has the best ideas. So I'm
Yeah.
excited for you guys, man. It's gonna be it's gonna definitely be like a lot of like testing and trials and errors, man. But
Uh, oh yeah. To be clear,
yeah,
what I said there is a vision piece. Like
hmm
that's going to take at
yeah,
least 6 to 12 months
oh
plus. I
yeah,
would think
oh
we're
yeah,
releasing the early versions of the tools in the kind of next few months, but like there's a long way to go still. I think though the thing people need to remember is AI is increasing exponentially. Like
yeah.
literally, if you think about how quickly it's getting better, it's very
It's
scary.
insane.
And
It's
so I
insane.
think this time next year you'll be able to build a pretty good 2D game without much kind of help from an outside party.
That's so
Um,
crazy to me, dude. That's
yeah,
so crazy. But yeah, man, no, it's gonna be nuts, man. And I'm glad that you guys are kind of leaning towards that. You know, I see other blockchains. Kind of sticking to what they got, to kind of sticking to what they know, and that's cool and everything. But like, you gotta adapt or die out here, man. Because man, the other people, the other chains that are utilizing these tools, they'll just kind of just gobble you up if you know what I
yeah.
mean. What do
I
you think
think
about that?
I just think a lot of people are doing the same thing. I'll be honest with you.
Yeah, yeah.
I
I
get
think,
it because there's very good product market fit in DeFi, and so if you're thinking about the least risky play, you should build a chain for DeFi. That is the least risky play because that's got the best product market fit. But it's not really innovating that much.
yeah.
It's the same thing again with like slightly better apps or slightly weirder lending protocols of some form or fashion. And so I think for us, I really like the entertainment sector because it's just not been really pushed a lot.
Mm-hmm.
People have done a little bit, but I think there is so much new stuff that can be really help people become more
Yeah.
innovative, help people to build more businesses faster. That I think is just not being attacked very strongly by other chains, and that's why we're super focused there.
So when
Um,
you say like innovating, sorry, how would you explain that Sonia versus like I don't know any chain out there that you can think of? You know what I mean? Because you're right,
yeah,
it is pretty much the same thing here and there, just different names and colors. But yeah, yeah, you know what I mean. But yeah, go ahead.
yeah, yeah. So the root comes from the performance. So
Mm,
because you have that super high performance, you can put loads more logic and data on chain. So that's the
yeah.
root basically. But then why? Why? Literally, I had this from investors back in the day. They're like, "What? Why do we need a million TPS type thing?" And I kind of explained this world where, so imagine devs start putting more logic on chain. So they start putting, I don't know, protocol to do loot boxes, or a protocol to do leaderboards, or a protocol to do movement. So you have all these different kind of building blocks and components that people are putting on chain. That means other developers can start pulling from that and building their
Mm,
experiences with those core components, and they can get to their final game faster. And this, they then put a bunch of components on chain, which then other people can build off top of. And so you get this kind of composability mix, which happens over and over and over again. That basically means you get more video games built faster, which means you find more fun video games. You get the new genres that I was talking about. You get the new business models that I was talking about, and that's how you build the breakout hits that are going to attract tons of people. And so that's really what we're building. And the reason we can build that is one, we have a super high performance blockchain, which is the best in the market, and two, because of this laser focus on this entertainment sector and gaming in particular,
Yeah.
that's the edge basically, and that's the differentiation.
I
And
think
that's what you'll see more and more as we go down this journey.
and I think that also, dude, just straight up fun. You know what I mean? Like what you guys are going to unveil, keep going and moving forward with. It's man, dude. It just sounds like a lot of fun. Like people are gonna be
Yep.
just creating over there, playing games over there, AI agenting over there, what have you. You know what I mean? And it's just gonna be. I always say this, man. Fun is always the alpha. Wherever the people are having the most fun, that's where the alpha is going to be at, man. And I think Somnia is going to be having tons of fucking fun over there, man. So, man, I'm excited for you guys. So we all know that building anything in startup land is extremely hard, and more people building within crypto knows that it's even way harder. So, like, dude, it's crazy, man. So, what has been some of your guys' biggest hurdles or challenges, and what have you guys done to kind of just destroy that?
Oh my god. So first of all, I'll start off with, so I've been doing startups for like 13 years. Uh,
Damn,
and
man,
my
dude,
first
you
web
still have your hair, bro. Congrats.
yeah, that's what people say.
Yeah.
It's like you aged well.
You did, man.
So the so Web3 startups though are like another level of hard. The reason for that is one, you have global distribution from day one. So with a normal startup, you normally start, you deploy your application or you do your platform and you go to a specific geo. So you
Hmm.
go normally to your local geo, like you sell, if we're in the UK, we'd sell to the UK population first, then we probably go to America quite quickly. And that helps because it's not 24/7, it's not always online. Web3 is not like that. As soon as you make anything,
Yeah.
everyone in the world is going to touch it in some form or fashion, and you are now on 24/7 from
Oh
as
yeah.
soon as you launch a product, even if it's a proof of concept product.
Yeah.
Um, that is awesome because you get loads of users very
Mm.
quickly, and you get a massive variety of users as well, which is awesome. Like I've never had a product that's gone from zero to I think we're like 1.3 million monthly active users this quickly. It's crazy,
Yeah.
and so it's very very cool to see, but it also is like very very intense. So I think for me, the challenge has been like how you deal with that scale with small teams as well. Like we're not a big team yet.
Yeah.
We're getting there. We're growing every single month, but like you can't hire fast enough to keep up. Like normally, if you had the scale that we have, you'd have like 100+ person team. We're like a 30 person team at the moment.
Oh
So
wow.
I think that's been the biggest challenge. But it's made me realize that you can do a lot more with less. Like when I come
Hmm.
from my previous startups, the Web2 world, we had massive teams doing. So we would do like 3 major events in the games industry a year. We have a 3 person events team that would do that. We now have a 1 person events team, and he does like 20 events a year. And so it made me
Nice.
realize you can just do a lot more with less people, and you don't need as many people as you think, but you just need the high quality people. So I think the
Yeah.
biggest challenge has been finding those people. Um, that's got a lot easier now as our name has got bigger in the space. But in the beginning, that's like one of the toughest things when no one knows who you are. You're trying to convince these people, and it's all about getting people in a room with you as the founder, pitching them the vision, getting them super hyped up, and being like, "I have to come on this journey with you." Because in this at the start, that's probably one of the biggest challenges, and I think it's all about you as a founder being able
Yeah.
to present that vision to someone and kind of get someone interested in it. Um, so that's been a massive challenge, scaling the team out and kind of working in this global 24/7 environment. For me as well, I think one of the biggest ones has been becoming like a person on Twitter. Like
Mm.
I've never really been into using social media. I like to be quite private as a person, quite introverted naturally. And now I've had to like really step out my comfort zone and become the founder that's kind of talking to the community on Twitter,
Yeah.
interacting with people, going on things like
Dude, the
this,
people love you,
which has
dude.
been
The people love you, bro. You know what I mean? I'm glad you're doing it because the people just love you, bro. Yeah, yeah. You know, they love your content. They love what you're saying, and they love what you're building. So I think it was a great move. You know what I mean? You just being out here with us, man. It makes it more of like I guess it makes it more human for us. You know, because
exactly.
for me as like a participant, I'm a participator. You know, I'm like every single day. I'm an every single day crypto user. And for me as a participator, you know, I understand and I understand the importance of how just like you explained how you make people feel during those times, you know. So like you being on the timeline, hanging out with us, conversating with us, replying to us, and you know, hopping on shows like this, man. It's just like it makes it. it makes it more human. You know, I'm able to see you. I'm able to hear you. I'm able to. There's a level of trust that goes in with these things. You know, when you do these things. But yeah, man, like I said, people love you. Keep going, dude. I think that you got a big old brain on you, so you should definitely be sharing that on the timeline like you do right now. But yeah, man, I think it was a great move. But I'll let you continue. I don't know if you had anything else to say.
Yeah, no, I just kind of echo what you said. I realized there's two things I realized. One, people connect with people; they don't
Mm-hmm.
connect with brands anymore. So you being a person is someone that actually can build like rapport and community. And then the second thing that I kind of knew, I've been in the space since 16, 17, right? I've seen so many scams. I've bought loads of rug balls myself. It's the trust factor.
Yeah.
Like if you don't see this person's face, if you don't know who's doing this project, you're like, do I trust them? Do I know who they are? Um, and I kind of knew that, but I've really kind of have learned that over the past kind of like year. And so I think that's a massive thing that I would say to. There's a lot of people in the space who are building really good products. They're very technical, and I always try and push them like you've got to go out there and talk to people
Yeah.
and build the community with them because otherwise, it's just very hard to succeed without it, in my view.
You have to be a what's it called? I heard this word. It resonated with me. It was like a high functioning what's it called? Introvert. A high
High
functioning
functioning
introvert.
introvert.
Yeah, yeah. I think so. I feel the same way, dude. Like before this account, I never had social media. I never done anything except for Facebook to keep up with family. But it's true, because when I first started, I was pretty much anonymous and stuff like that. But as soon as I started showing my voice more and my face more, people started to come hang out with me more. But like I said, dude, what you guys are doing, what you're doing, man, I think it was a great move. All right, brother. Last few questions, and I'll let you go. I know everything must be pretty tight, pretty busy. But what's the
Definitely.
future look like? Oh yeah, dude, I bet. But what's the future look like for Somnia in 2025 and beyond? What are some of the things people should be looking out for, and what should we be excited for?
There's a lot of stuff. So I think in the short term, this month is the month where a lot more of the games, like high end, high quality games, are coming out this month. So
Nice.
as you kind of were talking about the chain, the place for fun, there's going to be a lot of fun happening this month. A lot of
Oh,
cool
dude,
games coming
I
out.
gotta get in there, brother. Get me
Yeah,
in there.
yeah, no, I think we're going to be doing a lot of. I think this month is going to be really fun. I hope so. Anyway, the games they get delayed,
Yeah.
so hopefully they don't get delayed. But yeah, so we're definitely some will definitely come out, but like yeah, games are hard and they often get delayed. So this month I think there's going to be a lot more of the games coming out, and then early next month as well. Mainnet is obviously around the corner. Everyone asked me when mainnet. What I say to people is I can't tell you the
Yeah.
exact date for mainnet. I can tell you that a few things have to be true. There has
Hmm.
to be enough day one ecosystem projects ready because I don't want to launch a chain that doesn't have anything to do. Dead chain doesn't work very well. There has to be enough mind share and kind of people knowing about the project. And then there also has to be enough usage of the chain as well. So we battle hardened it and tested it. So that's like the three major things that you can kind of track and see. So mainnet will be this year. I'm not going to tell you exact date. Hopefully
Dude, I've
soon.
seen people get crucified for telling the wrong date, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I, I've got crucified many times in my career for telling dates. So I've learned to basically just pad them out massively. That's the trick basically. But it's hard because people
Hmm.
ask you, people want to know,
Yeah.
especially the devs, right? The devs need some level of certainty about when the stuff is coming. And so I always tell them like, here's where we're projected. Here's the worst case scenario. Here's the probable case scenario. So if you
Nice.
give them a range, it kind of helps a lot. But yeah, it's a tough one. Um, so then I think the big thing, there's a couple of big things that are coming out. One is around this AI tool chain that I've kind of talked about. I think that we hope to release a prototype of that in the next few weeks where people can start doing those
Nice.
prompts, generating those games, then a full production version sometime in the next couple of months. That's going to be kind of a big piece for us and a big set of stuff. Then the next big thing, which this is alpha here. I don't think I've really talked
Ooh.
about this yet. Yeah.
Ooh.
So we're starting to build kind of a front end user portal. So if you think
Oh.
about like what Abstract did, or I don't
Hmm.
actually know another chain that's done it yet, but basically a front end where we're going to be following a lot of Web2 consumers into that, so they can kind of see
Nice.
all the experiences on chain, interact with the chain without them having to become a Web3 native. So they don't have to get a MetaMask or random wallet and kind of do that. I think that's going to be a very interesting application for us. We tried to do it actually last year. It's called the Metaverse browser. Didn't work out. We had a load of Web3 natives, and this app basically was a desktop app. and it kind of did everything for you in the background magically. And people were like, well, how do I connect my wallet? What do I do here? It
Yeah.
was just
Okay.
it was so like slick and seamless. And so I think we're going to be very careful with the way we market that and tell people, look, if you're a Web3 native, go down this path. If you're a
Yeah.
normal Web3 consumer, it's going to make it much easier for them to get on chain.
I think it's huge,
But
dude,
some,
because like people will just be like, I don't like NFTs, but I like digital collectibles. You know what I mean? It's the same thing, but like it's just different naming. But yeah, go
exactly.
ahead.
I don't like NFTs, but my Steam inventory, that's
Yeah,
fine. Even though I have
yeah,
millions of them. That's
exactly.
an NFT. But
Yeah,
that's I think this is a big thing. The space has to get rid of all these technical words that
yeah.
technical people made
It's
to
been
just
it's been
make front
tarnished.
end apps.
Yeah,
Exactly. It's just at the end of the day, blockchain is just invisible infrastructure that sits in the background. People just need to go to apps and have fun, and the blockchain just does its thing. NFTs are just an implementation tool
yeah,
at the end of the day.
exactly.
But yeah, in the industry, we've just made it the thing, and I'm like, it doesn't need to matter anymore.
Oh no, dude, but I'm glad you guys are building that front end with the kind of like what Abstract did. I love that thing, man. I'm not on it like a lot, you know what I mean? But just the home page of me interacting and me kind of doing the Web 2 kind of thing on there, it's nice. It's even for a huge Web 3 guy, it's still a nice kind of familiar. You know what I mean? Where I can just kind of do its own thing. I think that's a great idea, man. I'm glad you guys are doing that. What do you hope to accomplish in the next 5 to 7 years? What do you think of when you hear that when I say that?
Yeah. So there are two paths. One path that I really want to happen, and I think
Mm-hmm.
that's the path that we push most on, is this. It's kind of like Roblox, but decentralized is the way I put it. So imagine like everyone becomes a creator in some form. They make games in some form, or they make mini experiences, and that's broadened out to every single person that can do that. And that's all being done published on chain, and people are making money through the chain using that. So that's the kind of vision piece that we have. It's like a decentralized version of Roblox where everyone is building stuff. So in that world, there'll be these really cool games, there'll be these entertainment experiences for sports, music, fashion. People, individual creators will be building stuff. There'll be loads of different micro businesses, all kind of creating
Ah,
stuff on chain.
nice. Like a
And
Ready Player
that's
One.
exactly
Yeah, I
that's.
love
I
that
don't
movie,
say
man.
that. I don't say
I
that, but
know, no.
that's
Oh
kind of the
yeah.
vibe
For
basically.
me and for you and I, man, it's okay. But for like anybody out there, for sure, it's just like a little. But like, I
Yeah,
understand what
we,
you're saying because like
yeah,
it's the entire world. It's not necessarily what about it. It's the world. You know what I mean? It's a
yeah.
whole entire ecosystem. Yeah, but go ahead.
Yeah, I think the problem is you end up using the word metaverse, which is like massively tarnished in Web3.
Yeah.
That is the thing at the end of the day. But we kind of, if you call it Roblox and decentralized, people are like, oh, Roblox, that's the
Yeah.
thing that works. Oh, decentralized version will be better because less fees, more
Yeah.
control, blah blah blah. So that's why the pitch is like that. But in reality, yeah, it's Ready Player One.
Yeah, I'm glad that I think it's important to kind of showcase these wordings because like it helps others building things and even just your everyday participants like myself to start using different vocabulary when talking about these things now. You know what I mean? Because when I talk about it with my friends, families, loved ones, etc., I want to interest them. I'm not trying to, you know what I mean, disinterest them. So I think it's important to have these conversations to really say like, hey, this is not it anymore. This is what we're calling it, you know. But yeah, it's a it's a good thing. But last question on that part, brother. When it's all said and done, when you can just lay back and breathe, and you're just like, oh, finally. What does Somnia look like? And it could be 50 years from now, you know what I mean? 30 years from now. Like, what kind of world? Is it that kind of
Well,
world, that same kind of world that you were explaining,
yeah,
man?
there's no laid back and breathe.
Yeah.
This is
This
an
is you,
infinite
huh?
game. This is an infinite game.
So
And
how do you and I meant to ask this earlier. How do you kind of keep yourself level headed throughout everything? You know, because there's major ups, major downs, sideways. How do you keep yourself
yeah,
level headed through it all?
I think I'm very lucky. I don't know why. I just have a very I think it's because I spent loads of my life like thinking about self-improvement, meditation, all that kind of vibe, where I'm very level-headed.
Mm.
And literally the team tell me like nothing seems to phase you. I just like massive problem can happen and I'm just like, all right, I just need to do this, this, and this, and then fix the problem. So I think I just ignore it and keep building because I have this strong conviction of this future world and this
Nice.
future vision, and I just keep building towards that future vision. Things can go
Nice.
up, things can go down, hype cycles can happen, but I honestly believe in this end state. I think it will help the world, make the world a more fun, enjoyable, entertaining place. And so I just build towards it and keep going
Man,
every day.
that's awesome, man. It makes me bullish, man, because you gotta have leadership like yourself, man. Just wave through all the noise, the bullshit, the FUD. It's inevitable. You're gonna have it. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So it's just like, why even go down that path? It's hard. You know, we're all humans. It's hard sometimes, but yeah, man. It's just like when you see. I've been here for the last. I still consider myself a noob. I've only been here for the last 4 years in crypto, and seeing some people out there building great things. But man, dude, their EQ on the timeline is just awful, man. I'm just like,
So
dude,
fun.
yeah, dude,
I
it's
got really bad.
yeah, yeah, dude. Just like, go ahead, go ahead. I want to hear your perspective on that.
No, it's these super technical guys, and they're so smart, but they
So
just
smart.
yeah. But the problem is interacting with
Yeah,
other people is very hard for them. And I always tell people, if you can't do that, find someone who can. Like
yeah,
hire a co-founder or get a co-founder that can, because it's so difficult if you can't do
yeah.
that at the end of the
It,
day.
it it's like
Yeah,
juggling. It's like
yeah,
juggling. You know what I mean? It's just like when and you let one ball fall and you're raging on the timeline. It's just a major turn off for a lot. You're just like, ooh,
yeah.
I don't know.
Again, this is the thing. Like, raging on the timeline is not gonna. What's it gonna solve? That's
Yeah,
what I always tell myself. Like, what's this gonna solve?
yeah,
I, I
not.
I'm not. I'm human, right? I see stuff and I get angry
Mhm.
about it, but what's it gonna solve at the end of the day? It's not
Yeah,
gonna.
yeah, me too, man. It's funny, man. Sometimes when I'll do I'll comments, nothing too crazy, man. But like at the end of the day, I'm just like, man, dude, maybe I shouldn't have said that. But it's just this crazy thing. Last question. This is like basically your general thoughts and opinions on this space and where we're at now. But let's talk about specifically Web3 gaming. What do you think about what has transpired over the years within Web3 gaming, and what do you think about where we're at today?
Ooh, big question. So I think it obviously has gone through its like mega hype cycle,
Hmm.
and we're in like a low point at the moment, the trough of delusion. If people have seen technology adoption curves, 21, that was the big hype cycle
Yeah.
where I'm sure if people were around for then, that was like the it was like going to be the Nirvana of Web3. But
Ah,
I think
I learned real
it
hard that day.
yeah, yeah, I got into a lot of projects. I was like, why do you? I knew as well. I literally knew. I saw them like this game is gonna never be built, and why am I? Why am I playing it? But I
It's
was like, oh,
magic.
this is gonna be cool.
Yeah, magic.
And I
the
knew, I know how hard games are to build, but I still got swept up in like the oh, it's so cool.
yeah,
So now we're in like the building phase of like making that dream back in 2021 a reality,
I agree.
and I think you're starting to see some good games come out now. Like Off the Grid is massive. I love Pirate Nation. There's some really good games that are coming out. I think a lot
Yeah,
of people in the space are like so bearish on gaming. They're like, it's a failed experiment, didn't work.
dude,
But there
and
are
some
people
and,
who have built
and
games
some of
that,
the strongest Web3 gamers, bro, will be saying that. I'm like, dude, no way, bro. You
yeah,
out of all the people there, there's people out there like straight Web3 gaming is their path, and I'm just like, you're giving up on this fucking early, dude. I'm just like,
yeah,
it blows my
it,
mind.
exactly. It takes like 3 to 5 years to build. If you want to build an MMO, that's like even longer. Like it takes a
Yeah.
long time to build a good video game, and then it can fail, and you have to do another
Yeah.
cycle, and that can fail, and
Hmm.
you have to do another cycle. And so for me, it is all a function of getting. It's more more games and getting in more developers from the Web2 industry. That's the thing that we are
Yeah.
really focused on, trying to convert people from Web2 to Web3. We talk about UA, we talk about different monetization mechanisms, we talk about new business models, and they kind of then get interested. But I think we have to grow the pie, get more high quality developers in to build fundamentally fun, good quality games, and then it will do what we kind of expect it to do. Because once you have a few breakouts which go massive, the AAAs will then come in and they
Yeah.
will copy or buy the studios, and then the vision that we will have in our mind of Web3 gaming, that will happen. But you need to find the innovation first, and that will come from people building independent studios, creating these new games. And so I think we are at a phase now where the technology has got to a place where you can actually effectively build a Web3 game. I think in 2021 it was really hard. Now there's really good tools out there that actually makes it viable, and things like Somnia, obviously. And so I think it's now a function of getting more people building. and then you'll find that innovation, and it will do what we all had in our head back in 2021.
Yeah.
But it's not going to happen tomorrow. It's going to take years. It's just a function
Yeah.
of how the industry works.
It's crazy. It's crazy. Like most people don't realize how long it really takes to build an amazing game with storytelling, lore, etc., etc. But yeah, man, I couldn't agree more. I think a lot of teams that have been building for the last few years, building out their game, starting to release it now. We're starting to see it. We're starting to see the effects of real good game building, and as new AIs come out, it's only going to get faster and way better.
Yep.
But yeah, man, that's all I had for you today, my guy. Again, thank you for hopping on the show and letting me pick your brain about you, Samia, and everything in between. But before we close this down, brother, please let people know where they can find more information about you and Samia Network, and maybe
Yeah.
how they can participate in the testnet.
Oh yeah. So I think the easiest way is just follow at Somnia_network. So that's the brand account. You can also follow me at 0x Paul Thomas. So I chat about blockchain and Somnia all the time in games. But if you want to get part of the testnet, you go to our website, somnia.network. You'll see in the top right testnet. You go there, or you'll see a big button for quests as well. You can go check that out. So I think that's the easiest way. The onboarding flow's got a lot better. App discovery, we've got this cool new thing where you can see all the apps are deployed. So I'd
Nice.
probably try that out if people want to get involved. Follow the main account as well to get all the information and news. And then if you want to get really deep, I join the Discord. The Discord is where the alpha gets leaked. We do regular
Cool.
community meetups, and you
Nice.
find out stuff before anyone else. That's the best place, really.
Nice. You heard it here, man. Yeah, definitely get in that Discord there, man. That's where the alpha is going to be at. For anyone listening to on the podcast side, I will have all the links inside the bio, the website, Paul's Twitter account, and how to get on the testnet and participate. Paul, thank you again, brother. It meant the absolute world to me. I will catch you on the next one, brother. Have a good one.
Cool. Thanks a lot, man.